Hello, hello, Black women. Welcome to Find Your Light Fridays. Today, I want to talk about things our mothers did well, generational blessings. Hey, everyone, it is Rushni. I am a content creator. I am a healing journey coach for Black and West Indian women, and I am a Black woman healing. I create humor filled healing spaces so that other Black women can heal too. If you are a Black woman, you are welcome. Amen. I wanted to talk about this topic and I had so many confirmations like all over the internet. I knew I was in the right ballpark. Okay. If you are watching, I am live on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter X. Drop a pineapple in the comment section and let me know where you are watching from. Mother's Day just passed this past Sunday. Prayerfully, all of you moms had an amazing day. And you were able to celebrate your mom in whatever way felt appropriate for you. That is part of why I want to jump on today and talk about this topic. I also want to jump on and talk about this topic because I am launching a new course in my coaching community tomorrow about healing the mother wound. Therefore, I felt like it was only apropos for me to talk about the opposing topic, which is things that your mother did well. Why, Rashni? Because there is a tendency to focus on the negative. A human tendency to focus on the negative. It is very normal for us to do that. If you do that, don't feel bad. However, you're doing it because you're trying to feel safe. Yeah. So, constantly focusing on the negative of anything or the shadow side of everything is a potential way to address a thing. But I felt like it'd be important for me to talk about things our mothers did really well because we often don't sit and think about it. Hello, Joe Journal with her shoulders out. Always cute. Always cute. So, if you're watching on whatever platform, tell me in the comments section something that your mother did well. I asked this question on my YouTube community tab and I got several answers. I also asked it in my Find Your Light Facebook group and I got several answers. So the list that we're going to talk about today is not my personal list. It is a list that is compiled from what the women told me in both of those places, as well as just a conceptual list of things that you could consider that your mother did well. Okay. If this sounds good to you, please hit the like button and subscribe or follow on whatever platform you are on. I would really appreciate it. Yes, yes. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to say is I got confirmation about this topic. I had this topic in my mind a few weeks ago. However, if you guys don't know, I was abruptly laid off from my part-time job on the first of this month, and it kind of like threw my whole brain into a loop. I then like there was like hospital stuff with my son, then my birthday. My son has a very, very major surgery at the end of this month, and there is emergent hospital things happening, like planned trips to the hospital for tests and labs, etc. And then like today I got a phone call saying the blood work came back with this and now I got to go do this and that and that and other, right? So I didn't get to this topic until right now. I was hoping to do it before Mother's Day. But we are here now. And since mothers exist at all times, it is still a wonderful topic for us to talk about. So let me give you some ideas of things your mother did really, really well. Okay. The way I got confirmation is I think I saw Alicia Renice make a video about this topic when I was thinking about doing it. And I was like, oh my God, such confirmation. And then I saw Letarius Whitfield. I couldn't remember the man's last name. Letarius Whitfield put up a reel in the same ballpark about the fact that we often focus on what our mothers did poorly. But why don't we ever try to focus on what they did well? The other reason why I would love to talk about this topic to balance out the fact that I'm about to help people heal from the mother wound, which is also extremely important, is I am a mother. Okay. I am a mother. And even though I understand the importance of healing from the mother wound and healing my own mother wound has borne incredible fruit in my own life, I also am very aware of how challenging the position or the role of being someone's mother can be and how it is just very it would just be nice at times to hear the positives. Yes, the positives. Jojo said that her mom taught her to pray, to value education, and rest when she needed to. That is amazing. I love that, especially the part about resting, that you got modeled resting. So I have an expansive list. Hey, Maya. Hey, if you're watching, tell me what your mother did well. Matter of fact, let me put a banner. Maybe I can make a banner. Uh-huh. Tell me what your mother did well in the comments. Let's see if I can add a banner. Yeah, let's do it. Boom. It's kind of aggressive, but I'll let it sit there for now. Okay, so once again, this list is not my personal list, although I'm going to throw in some stuff that my mom did well. Okay. And this list came from you guys, as well as it's going to grow because you guys are going to let me know some things that your mom did well in the comments. You know how this helps on the healing journey before I even start? It helps because it can take your mind to balance your mother as a holistic individual. I asked this question and somebody said, my mother did everything well. And I thought, no, she didn't. Black and white thinking is not healthy. Okay. If somebody had asked me several years ago, what did my mother do well? I probably would have said everything. I also was dissociated and not willing to look at the difficult and challenging behaviors that showed themselves in my upbringing that caused me so much trauma. So I think that it is if you say your mother did everything well, I dare to tell you that maybe no human being is perfect. But also, if you tell me that your mother did nothing well, that is also not possible. Okay. I don't think that that's possible. So let me give you some ideas. And that's all this video is going to about. I made a list. Let's talk about it. If your mother spoke to you kindly, that is something that your mother did well. That is a generational blessing, right? Oh, I forgot to say this. We often focus on the concept of generational curses, but generational blessings are a thing too. What's blessing? I looked up the word blessing, and blessing is favor. Okay. Favor is something that you get beyond what you are due. So, in this video, I'm going to talk about how your mother added to your life in a way that you can honor and that you can uphold. I love the saying that your mother's ceiling becomes your floor, or it could become your floor. And me as a mom, my ceiling, as high as I go emotionally, everythingly, can become the floor that my son stands on. Yeah. So she may not have done everything right, but she did something right. Okay. So if your mother spoke to you kindly, with love and gentleness. And if she used her words to build you up and to elevate you, if you feel a solid sense of confidence and well-being because of what was spoken to you by your mother, then that, my friend, was a blessing that I'm going to say prayed over you, that she spoke over you. And that was something that she did extremely well. Um, if your mother fostered a healthy and or nourishing relationship with you, right? Healthy and or nourishing. When I say nourishing, to me, nourishing means like you are getting your needs met. It's kind of like we often use the word nourishing mostly for food, but think about it in all of the ways, in your spiritual way, your mental way, your food way, your care way, your needs. If your mother fostered an actual relationship with you where you were getting more than just your physical and like home and food needs met. Okay. If she had a uh, communication pattern with you, a caring, loving way of addressing you, she was modeling emotional needs for you, then that is a beautiful, wonderful thing that you can focus on and be grateful for that she showed up for you in that way. Yeah. Huh. If your mother displayed unconditional love. Now, I see a lot of people on the internet talking about whether love can be unconditional, conditional, but the conversation. In the role of mom, it's very unique, right? Mothers are so important for establishing your attachment styles, which are developed by your relationship with your primary caregiver, which typically is a mom, not always, right? And so imagine if you lived your life growing up with a person who displayed to you that no matter how you showed up in the world, no matter who you were, you belonged and that you were loved. I know that many of us can focus on that something like that did not happen. But if you had a mom or a primary caregiver figure, but I'll just say mom for the word right now. If you had a mother who displayed to you that no matter what mistakes you made, no matter how you showed up in a way that wasn't what they expected, no matter what you said, no matter what you did, they were going to show up for you unconditionally, that is a beautiful thing that your mom did for you, right? Huh, this is a big one. If your mother modeled boundaries, listen, if you grew up and saw your mom modeling relational boundaries, communication boundaries, time boundaries, physical space boundaries, love boundaries, if you were allowed to develop into a whole authentic self separate from your mom, which is such a beautiful way to exist in the world. If you were modeled and given room to be able to develop into that you, and she came alongside you like scaffolding because she loved you and she knew that that was something that you needed while you grew and developed, that is such a beautiful gift that she gave you. That was a beautiful gift. Hello, H&D Abroad. Maya says, my mom made me feel loved. She taught me the importance of taking time every morning to pray and meditate before going on with the rest of the day. Yeah, I have something like that on the list too, and it's about, let me see if I could find it. If your mom modeled a healthy relationship with God and her spirituality. Yeah, and that was because somebody like you, Maya, mentioned that their mom taught them to look to God for the responses and the answers that they needed in their life. And they even shared a story about how I think they needed food or groceries or something and they prayed and then like somehow the provision was there, and as a kid they actually thought it was magic and that stuck with them because their mom modeled um going to God for them. And beyond that, a healthy relationship with God and spirituality is a beautiful thing because we all know people who have unhealthy relationships with spirituality and who may use it in ways to do things like control and manipulate, etc. So if you had a mother figure in your life and that woman was able to show you how to petition, how to praise, how to worship, how to find God for yourself, and how to not use spirituality for negative intents. I don't know how to say that. I can't think of how to say it. That is a healthy expression of a spiritual self. And especially if you saw her doing it and so you learned by modeling her behaviors, that is such a huge gift that was given to you. Another person shared that their mom modeled or established in their home a culture of faith and ministry service. So just the whole vibe in the house was about leaning heavily on faith for how you show up in this world and how to minister and serve others. And I actually know the person who said that, and that's literally how their house is now. So what a beautiful gift that your mom may have given you that you may not have even considered. All right, this is the next one I wrote down. Uh, did your mother model self-prioritization, right? What do I mean by that? As Black women, we are often shown that we are supposed to come last. There is so much messaging. Oh my God. You know what? Matter of fact, somebody sent me something the other day, and I'm going to take time to read it to you guys. They actually sent it to me yesterday. And it is amazing to me how we get these things, like memes and things people send to each other. And I don't know if we actually read them, if people just send them to you, or if they actually read what they are sending to you. I received this in my text messages from someone yesterday, and they were serious. And I had to read it like 3 times to see if they were joking. Blessed is she who holds her tongue. Blessed is the woman who endures mistreatment but decides to remain silent. What? See, at this point, I thought it was a joke. Okay. And then it goes on. She understands that when God has a divine calling over her life and the attacks will be greater, she knows her purpose and keeps her focus on God. There is no hate in her heart. She remains gentle and at peace, and she chooses to love because she knows love can cover a multitude of sins. Those are the types of messages that we get. And it's not that I don't agree with the fact that, you need to choose your battles, but the beginning of it that says, blessed is she who holds her tongue and blessed is the woman who endures mistreatment. Blessed is the woman who endures mistreatment. Listen, this is what I'm talking about having a mom that modeled healthy spirituality. Because to me, those are the unhealthy types of messages that we get. And then we end up down a rabbit hole of not prioritizing ourselves. Because remember, that's what I was saying. If she showed you to prioritize yourself, if she did not saturate you in messages of self sacrifice to your detriment, where everyone else's needs came before yours, and you actually saw a mother showing up as a whole woman, making space and boundaries for her needs to also get met as she decided to serve other people. That is such a blessing. And unfortunately, I'm not really sure a lot of Black women have it, but if your mom did that for you, what an amazing gift she gave you. Because having a mom that shows you that it is so important to prioritize yourself, to put on your mask before you go and try to save anybody else's mask and burn yourself out, is exquisite. Hi, Evie Scott, and your cute hair. Evie says, my mom took long baths every morning. And I remember as a kid thinking, lady, we got places to go. But it was her simple gift to herself every day before going out into the world. Wow. Listen, that is so, first of all, I love that for her. And I love that for you because what she gave you was an opportunity to see in front of you on a daily basis a message that counteracted the messaging outside your home, which was go, 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 work, work, work. Black women do all the things. And your mom methodically and slowly showed you an opposing view. And I hope that that bore fruit in your life and it bears fruit in your life. Yes. Um, April says mistreatment. Nope. It sends the wrong message to our kids. April, I was so confused when I got that message. I was like, what the hell is this? Sorry. And I did. I wrote back to the person. I have this thing now where I speak up more. I say things aloud more. I still decide whether I'm going to or not. It's not like I'm just like flying off the handle or anything. But like if I need to say no to something, I say it. And I wrote back to this person because I love them. And I just thought it was a misguided thing to send to me. Mistreatment. So if you have a mom who displayed to you self prioritization, boundaries, and treating yourself well, that is a blessing. If you have a mom that protected you, if you have a mom that showed you that protection does not have to come in like violent physical outbursts, right? If you felt safe with her, your emotions felt safe, your mental health felt safe, your physical body felt safe, your care needs felt safe and taken care of, your spiritual health felt safe, your spiritual you, your development, your exploration, your evolution felt safe, and therefore you felt covered and protected. What a beautiful gift. What what a beautiful gift. See, we don't think about these things. We drag mothers all over the place, and some rightfully so. I don't know if you guys are on TikTok right now. There's this lady going viral on TikTok. I think her screen name is Fired Mom or the Fired Mom, like how you get fired from a job. And she is an estranged mom. All three of her kids are no contact with her. And it's a fascinating, peek into the mindset of a person whose children have chosen not to involve themselves with her. And if I'm being honest, the few videos I've watched of hers, she's not like doing herself much favors, but that's her work to do. But if you have a mom that made you feel safe, that protected your heart, that protected your mind, protected your development, your emotional, spiritual, mental, physical development, psychological development, that she covered you in a gentle and loving way, what a gift. What a freaking gift. Okay. The next thing I wrote down is, and remember, this list is not just my list. I'm a swinging with my stuff. I'm also, but this list is compiled from you guys. So if you have anything to add to the conversation, tell me what your mom did well in the comment section of wherever you're watching. Okay. If your mother modeled to you how to handle emotions well, my God, on today. Um, One of the roles that I have learned as a mom of a son is it is my job to not just express to my son what his emotion might be, like give him a name for the emotion, give him a category for what he's experiencing, give him some options, some words to try on because he's growing. He's a new human being and he don't know what he's doing. Okay. So it is not uncommon for me to see him having like a little bit of a meltdown and say, "Hey, Boopy, are you frustrated?" And he'll be like, "Yeah, frustrated." Stuff like that. I understand that as part of my role. And I feel like it's a very unique expression of that role because my son has special needs and some developmental things, right? And I also think that it's important for my son to see me express and handle my own emotions in a healthy way. So if your mother gave you that gift where she, let's see, did her own internal work to be able to regulate herself in your presence and show you what to do when anger or frustration or disappointment or I don't know, sorrow and grief and all of these shadow type emotions pop up, what to do with them. Feeling rejected or feeling left out. If you saw that and she also showed you what to do with joy and elation and inclusion and happiness and forgiveness and gratitude and all of these beautiful emotions. That is such an amazing gift that mothers can give us and that mothers have given us in full or in part. In full or in part. And I want you to consider that because more likely than not, there was something in there that you learned from her about how to handle your emotions in a healthy way. Okay. If your mother listened to you, that's that alone was a gift. You know what else? If your mom did things well, sometimes you don't even know she did it well because you take it for granted. Okay. So some of these things you might be like, girl, everybody's mother does that. That is not true. Okay. So one of the things I want to point out is let's elevate the fact that there were so many beautiful things that came downstream from your mom. And if your mom is a mom that listened to you, that took the time to sit, give you her full undivided attention, and actually show authentic, true interest in what was happening in your world and really communicate it back to you, developmentally, she knocked it out the park. Okay. Developmentally, she knocked it out of the park. You know why? Because having somebody listen to you establishes so many things in your sense of self that is healthy and that tracks into adulthood, right? I was watching Evelyn from the Internet's video about self care that she put up recently. I'll go back and add a link to it in the information box. And in that video, she mentioned that she would be avoidant attachment. And part of her development of avoidant attachment style is growing up and feeling like whatever she said, whatever she did, didn't even matter anyway. So you develop this like hyper independence, right? So conversely, if you had somebody that modeled for you in developmental years that your world and what you were saying was important, it actually builds something in you that tracks very positively into adulthood. If your mother, hey Chanel, hello, if your mother believed in you, that, my friend, is a gift you might be overlooking. It is a blessing you might not even be considering. This kind of goes with the listening to you, but kids come out exploding with imagination. I feel like we come through the portal of the womb into life, okay? And from that divine portal, okay, we get here and all of a sudden so many forces come against our ability to imagine, to create. Imagination to me is just this playfulness in the realm of creation in the mind. You see the thing before you create it, right? And in that way, it feels to me, I'm not sure, but it feels to me like imagination is like that sprinkle of the divine creation, like that pre-creation, like how God would see something before he actually did it. He gave us a very similar bent because we're made in his image, right? So if you come out your as a child and your imagination is run rampant, there are so many things that could come against your imagination and do. I shouldn't say could. So many things in our social situation that come against our imagination and that basically train us to let go of that dreaming imagination part of our brain, our divine creativity, and to conform into the thing. We've had those conversations, right? But if you have a primary caregiver or a mom that believes you, that steps into your playful creative spaces with you and that allows those things to bloom and blossom, that is a generational blessing. That is favor beyond what is normal. She did an exquisite job. Okay. A creative adult is a child that survived. And when I say creative, I don't just mean an artist. I mean, if anything you make out of nothing, that anything out of nothing could be you fill out tax forms, you are quantitative, you are an amazing chef, you paint. If your mom believed you and believed in you, that established something in you that allowed that imagination to live on. That to allowed that imagination to live on. Okay. If your mom, I kind of said this already, but I'm going to say it because it's on my list, spoke positively to you, not negatively. Yeah. Um, Once again, from the beginning of the video, I mentioned that it is the default for humans to lean toward negative. And the reason for that is neurological and to feel safe. If you go back in time, if something negative happened, let's say you go out and you pick 17 flowers and all the flowers are beautiful, but the 18th flower you pick, all of a sudden you catch a rash. It makes more sense for you to focus on that 18th flower to burn that thought into your brain to keep you from once again in the future going out and picking that flower and getting the rash. Yes. So we are wired toward hyper focusing on negative things as a way of trying to control our feelings of safety. So if you have a tendency to hyper focus on negative things, that is why, okay, do not beat yourself up. You are a human being. Welcome to the planet. All right. However, part of the healing journey is to elevate from your basal level, okay, from your primal level. You're not controlled by the flesh. Amen. I put it in all the different ways. I put it in the scriptural way. I put it scientific way, right? Come up higher, boo boo. And so when you come up higher, you choose to go against your natural default and to train yourself to look to the light side of the thing, to look to the positive thing. Okay. If you're a Bible person, to think on these things. Yeah. Because when you think on these things, what it says later in that scripture is the peace, the promise for the thinking on these things. What happens after that is the peace of God that passes all understanding. Okay. So if you have a mother that modeled positivity to you, she gave you a head start in elevating how you show up in the world and experiencing divine peace because you were not exposed, overly exposed beyond the world to critical voices You were given the gift of seeing the light side of the thing. And our caregivers' messaging to us can often inform our internal dialogue as an adult. So if you constantly keep hearing a nitpicky, critical voice in your head, I would offer to you to ask yourself, who was talking to you like that, crazy out the side of your they head when you were younger? And what a gift if the voice in your head is positive, is uh, encouraging, is uplifting. And if your mom gave you the gift of looking at life through that lens, she put you ahead because she created in you the building blocks. She gave you the building blocks for a more peaceful and light as in illumination way of showing up in the world. And that is such a gift. Okay. The next thing I wrote down is if your mother modeled softness, strength is a thing. The strong black woman trope is a thing. We all have been victimized by the strong black woman trope. I don't have no problem with us being strong. Strength at appropriate times is necessary. And if you need strength at an appropriate time, ask a black woman, we got you. Okay. We know how to be strong. That is something we do very well. But because it is such a pervasive trope, strength, 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 strength. Sorry, I just thought about that meme. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I'm gonna put a link to it down below. Focus, Rushni. Um, if your mother modeled softness, if your mother, 1 minute, if your mother modeled softness, if your mother modeled showing up in her feminine, and I know everybody doesn't get down with that, but basically, if your mother showed you an expression of the feminine part of the divine and didn't always stay in the action masculine part because there are multiple parts. Okay, we're listen. I'm not going to go into it. We're made in His image. He's one. He split us into two. The divine is both in there. Anyway, if she showed you the softness, if she modeled to you a life that also allows you to show up delicately, nurturingly, presence, atmospheric, okay, the experience, sensual, as in your senses, right? And she wasn't always action, productive, do, go, strength, Louisa from Encanto, right? That is a gift. And if I'm being honest, that is super rare. A lot of us nowadays, the reason why we are hearing all of this conversation about femininity and masculinity and blah, 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 okay, and we're down the pike with that, is because just from, let's just say in this community, a lot of people are realizing that there has been a heavy bent toward action, go, 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 and rightfully so, in an effort to feel safe, like I told you. And that we realize that when we care for ourselves in ways that we did not have before, the softness comes out. Yeah. And so if you have a mom that sets you up from the jump, modeling softness and the fact that strength was a choice and a choice to activate in moments where strength was appropriate and then put that strength down and to rest into her softness in other times of your life, what an amazing blessing. H&D Abroad says, very thankful to my mom saying and modeling the saying, where there is a will, there is a way. So that means that your mom modeled possibilities to you. She gave you the gift of not being consistently stuck because stuck, I don't remember, I think it was Darius Daniels that says stuck should be a season and not a state. And so what your mom did by giving you that gift is she told you that God is the God of the exit. And that means you're never stuck. Okay. That's what it means in the book. I mean, if you read in the book, God says he provides ways of escape. And so she aligned you with the divine by offering to you that there is always a way. to create an entirely different outcome. I don't know how we got over there, but we went there. Hello, feeling pretty blue. Happy Friday. And I already said this, but I'm going to say it again. Did she model softness? But did she also model strength when appropriate? Right? I gave you that conflict, that back and forth of like softness and strength, softness and strength. Many of us are stuck in the strength to the point that we don't even realize that that's not supposed to be us all the time, right? That strong, strong, strong. And many of us are taking off the cape and all of that and putting it down and resting, okay? But sometimes strength, activity, doing is an important thing in appropriate moments. And so if you have a mom that models for you softness and then also models for you appropriate times to turn on strength, get it done, and then rest that thing down when it wasn't necessary anymore. Oh my God, imagine that. What a freaking blessing that is. And if you've never paid attention to the fact that that's something that your mom did, I want you to pay attention to that because it's super important. You are gifted with a blessing and you might not even be aware of it. Yeah. Did your mom model rest? Rest. Who said it up here? There was a few people. Um, Evie Scott was talking about her mom taking these long baths every morning, not every night, you guys. To start her day, her mother would rest and wash her body. Did your mother model rest? I am in love with the Rest deck by Trisha Hersey to the point that I have it in a stand. I have the card in a stand right here. Every week I pull one. And this week it says, there is no urgency. There is no perfection. I am enough now. You see that one on the top? There is no urgency. In Evelyn from the Internet's video, she said, I don't know what kind of life y'all are living, but nothing in my life is urgent. And I had to sit there and think about it. I can't say that nothing is urgent in my life because I'm a mom and I am a mom of a son with special needs. And so in the realm of my son with special needs, whose health is having some we're having surgeries and doctor's appointments and actual things, there are some things in my world that are urgent. But if your mom modeled to you that honestly ain't a daggone thing urgent up in here. You know how I know nothing is urgent beyond my son? Because last year, when my son had emergency things happening with him in his medical state, everything else that was on the docket had to go. All of it had to go. Every appointment, every event, every ticket, nothing is urgent. If you have a mom that showed you that pausing is not a form of laziness. Pausing and stopping to rest your body, to rest your mind, to rest and recalibrate your spirit, to regulate your emotions, to be mindful, if only for a minute. That is such a gift. And as a child, when you are developing, seeing a Black woman rest is revolutionary. Seeing a Black woman rest is revolutionary. So if you had a mom that modeled rest for you and she's still around, go kiss her and hug her. And if she isn't here in the physical realm, then talk to her in the spirit and tell her thank you. Okay? Because rest affects development and function of all the things in your body, then and currently. Your physical body, development, how your brain works, how your mental health is going, how your spiritual connection to the divine is going. Rest. That is why, even though society tells you that you're supposed to keep going till you're drop down dead, if you crack open your Bible, okay, which I'm wondering sometimes people are reading this thing. If you crack open your Bible, there's a whole lot of resting going on. Okay, there's a whole day set aside for rest called a Sabbath. And if you check Jesus out, the man stayed napping. That man slept. Okay. So if you have a mother who showed you to rest yourself, to pause yourself, as a consistent practice throughout your life, not something that you earn, but something that is intrinsic to you showing up in your life as a healthy individual. What an amazing blessing. If you have a mom that acknowledged emotions like fear, like sorrow, like grief, um, that made you understand, even though your emotions as a child were children's emotions, that they were still valid and they were big in your world, that they were big in your world, and that your mom allowed you to express your feelings without them changing her feelings, right? Which is differentiation in psychology. But if you have a mom that allowed you as a kid who is a brand new human who just got here, okay, and don't know anything, to have big, chaotic, and complex emotions, or small, intricate, but new to you emotions, and allowed you to express them, that you were afraid of something that didn't make any sense to be afraid of. You know what I mean? That like some social drama in your world was some big deal to you and it really wasn't that big of a deal in the adult scheme of things. And she allowed you to do that in a safe space where you did not affect her emotions, but she was regulated enough to cover you. And let me tell you what, that particular thing is one of the my intentions as a mom. I know that my son has special needs. And sometimes I'm not even sure if he's fully grasping the nuance and complexity of how I'm trying to show up for him. But that right there, me doing my work so that I can be regulated, so that no matter what my son brings to me, I don't deregulate, such a gift. Feeling Pretty Blue said, I am learning now so I can teach my mother and my children. Um, yeah, it is impeccable work. Okay. Impeccable work on your healing journey, to be intentional about how you show up in the roles that you play in people's lives. And motherhood is a role, and it is a very important one. It is a formative one, and it is one that evolves over the years into different versions of it. And there's so much I could say there. Okay. And so good for you, because learning means that you intend to have information that you can use to show up intentionally, and intention is always great gain. That's what I have learned. That's what I have learned. Evie Scott says, so much rest and so many prompts for rest in the Bible. This is what I'm trying to say, Evie. This rough side of the mountain, I'm about to go off on a tangent and come back around. This rough side of the mountain, I'm asleep when I die, grind, 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 work yourself into a fine dust for the Lord ministry. Ain't nobody said that's not in the book. They made that up. Somebody made that up. God said, listen, I told y'all to set out somewhere. Okay. God says rest. In the book, it says rest. In the book, it say he was sleeping. In the book, it says Sabbath, don't do nothing. Now, if the divine creator created you and he made the instruction manual for you, that means he knows what's best for you. That's all I have to say. Okay. So how you out here grinding with no pauses? Listen, you're supposed to at least pause once a week. I mean, once a week, no pauses. You just going, going, going for months on end. You go to your doctor, every alarm start going off. When you walk in the door, red siren lights start flying. You talking about, I don't know what's going on. Rest. Your body has to recuperate itself. That's not what this video is about. Evie got me. Listen, rest is a really important topic for me. So I could go off on a tangent. I'm back. I went off. I came back. If you have a mom that modeled rest, that's what we're talking about. Okay. What a blessing she gave you. Let's keep going. If you have a mom that modeled emotional regulation, I kind of spoke about this already, but I'll say it again. Emotional regulation does not mean everything is happy go lucky. Okay. I don't know what that is. I don't think that that's healthy. Human beings have emotions. Black women have emotions. We are sad. We are happy. We are joyous. We are fearful. We are hopeful. We feel sorrow. We are elated. We are disappointed. We feel a lot of things. And God gave us those emotions for a reason. Emotions are not, in my estimation, supposed to be driving your car, but they are more like indicators on the dashboard of your car, pointing at something that needs to be addressed. So the emotions are signals to you that something needs to be addressed. What do you need to do? Address the emotion, process it, do something to help you work through the emotion, and learn how to regulate your emotions. What does that mean? Your nervous system in your body, your physical nerves, okay, coming off the brainstem, we're going to go there and come back, alert your body to all sorts of things. Emotions register in your brain as a chemical response. Yeah. So that chemical response pops off because you feel the feels and it rushes through your body and your nervous system starts doing all the things, right? If you have a situation growing up that constantly kept putting you in what felt like unsafe spaces and experiences, you can be a very deregulated person and your nervous system can actually be addicted to the chemicals happening for that negative emotion. Okay, I'm done with being a nerd. I'm back over here. Okay. I'm not done with being a nerd, you guys. I can't be done. But but anyway, so that means if you have a mom that did the work to learn skills and tools to intentionally, I love it for us, regulate her own emotions. That was a gift and a blessing she gave you because she modeled to you that it was possible. Children are not aware that you can choose your response to certain emotional expressions. And that is why you see babies wiling out. I mean, they will drop something. They will be eating some animal crackers, drop one of the animal crackers and have a full tantrum. Okay. But if you have a mom that has modeled to you her emotional regulation skills, you are more likely, one, to be taught skills and tools on how to do it for yourself, and two, to just look at the woman and be like, oh, I didn't know that was an option. I thought pitching a full tantrum was an option, but apparently this woman is calm AF. So maybe that is also a choice. And as you grow with a person who models their own emotional regulation, you feel safe because you feel like there's a container in which you are living. You feel safe because she has given you a space of safety where you can bring to her your big emotions that are evolving and growing as a child, and she can still not be affected, and can communicate. And that's a gift. If your mother modeled conflict resolution, that right there was a blessing, a blessing. Difficult conversations are part of healthy relationships. Challenging conversations are part of healthy relationships. You will notice that many unhealthy relationships, whether they are platonic, romantic, all the icks, right? The breakdown can stem to an inability, not saying always, an inability to have challenging conversations without being emotionally deregulated. An inability to have challenging conversations without being emotionally deregulated. If you have a mom that not only modeled emotional regulation for you, but she modeled how to actually have challenging conversations. Like she didn't just zip it and not say anything to anybody and just let people walk all over her because that's not the best messaging. But she actually stood up and spoke up when it was appropriate. And when she did it, she didn't do it by busting the windows out the car. You know what I mean? Like she showed you that there was a different option. That is such a blessing that you had. That is such a blessing. If your mom modeled, oh, well, I already said this one, but I'm gonna say it again. Listen, I told you I have the list and I'm touching on stuff because some of these things bleed into each other. Differentiation and the ability to sit with other people's opinion. Differentiation is just the idea that you are you and I am me and we are two separate people. Okay. It seems simple and it seems obvious, but not always. And sometimes, especially in caregiver and child relationships, that line can be very blurred. And then it becomes a problem that is typically called enmeshment as adults. Okay, not always, but so differentiation is just being able to understand that, like, I am a whole separate entity than you. I am not part of you. I am not a blob. We are not one entity. That means we can have different thoughts, we can have different needs, we can have different communication styles. We can be our whole authentic selves. And hopefully, in this relationship, we get to show up whole and we get to belong, belong, right? as opposed to breaking pieces off of ourselves so that we can fit in because only certain parts of us are acceptable. That's not where we are, okay? So if your mom modeled differentiation, meaning it was clear to you that there was an ending to your mom and a beginning to you, which is not always clear to children. At the beginning of our life, that is not clear because we need to think that we're one big blob with our mom to survive. But part of maturing is teaching your child that like it is safe for you to have a different thought than me. It is safe for you to have a different expression of this than me. It is safe for you to have a different physical need, to dress differently, to talk differently, to I don't listen, to worship differently. You can be differentiated. And if your mom was able to sit with other people's opinions, chef kiss, okay? Having someone model to you that another person's world gets to be their world and does not mean that my world doesn't exist, because that's part of differentiation. That's part of the problem, right? If a person is not differentiated, what happens is when another person has an opinion or a fill in the blank, this person, because they think that it's all one blob, they get all turned up, right? You get to see a person model for you that it is okay for people to show up authentically as their whole self and be an entirely different human being than you. That was a blessing. If your mother made you feel wanted, remember this list is a compilation of things I came up with, but things that were said on my YouTube community tab, in my Find Your Life Facebook group, on a recent post, and on a post that I did many, many moons ago, like 3 years ago, that I dug up. Okay. If your mother made you feel wanted, feeling wanted is underrated, if I'm being honest. And as you grow on your healing journey and being able to express your needs, it is very vulnerable to be able to express that that feeling is important to you. Yes. It is more common for people to be like really upset that they don't feel it, but they can't exactly put their finger on what it is that's bothering them. So if you grew up with a mom or a primary caregiver that gave you a constant messaging, conscious or unconscious, just like the vibe was like they are happy that you are here. I think it's Maya Angelou that said their face lights up when you walk in the room, something like that. And I think my son's gonna have to have therapy for this one because I think I've gone so far that I've become like annoying to him. Listen, I know that these people told me that my son's medical needs was gonna be all these horrible things or whatever, and it's very difficult and it's very hard. I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy. It's not easy at all, y'all, especially this month with the surgery coming up. But when I tell you, ain't nothing better than looking at my son. He's so sick of me, I think he takes it for granted at this point, okay? He is the most wanted. I have never been more elated to see a human being in my life. And I don't know if my face lights up when he comes in the room, but he's so sick of me grinning that he has a word for it about how I'm always like just gushing over this kid and singing about him and dancing because I legitimately am like elated that I get to be this kid's mom. I can't believe this is who God sent me. Are you kidding me? This man is amazing. Okay, so if your mom gave you a gift like that, not my overdoing it version. I'm trying to gather it up, but I can't because I really like him a lot. Anyway, if your mom made you feel wanted, that is a blessing. If your mom, what did I put here? Parented you and your siblings and did not make you anyone's parent. Okay, so what is this one? This one was based off of a negative thing somebody said on a post that I decided to flip to the positive. So, oftentimes older children can be given the role of parent. Also, parentification is putting a child into an adult or a parent's role in various ways, like emotional support, financial support, caring for their siblings, all these things, right? If your parent allowed you to be a kid, you didn't have to parent your siblings, or you minimally had to parent your siblings. I know culturally that's a little strange to say, but I'm just saying the bulk of the parenting was not put on you to the point where they were neglectful and you became this person's parent, and you became this person's emotional support when you were developing your emotional sense, right? If you were given a safe space to develop a healthy psychological and emotional you without having to, while you're growing, try to pour into somebody else when you don't have anything to pour in, that's a blessing. Okay, that's a blessing. I got that gift. I am the youngest, and I didn't have to parent anybody. Okay, I didn't have to parent no younger sibling. Well, I didn't have to do parental things like care needs for younger children. I did not have to do that. Okay, there was some parentification in my world, but this video is about blessings. Okay, so if you were given the gift of just getting to be a kid for an extended period of time where development of yourself and your needs did not take a second seat or a back burner to having to now care for and provide for another person, that is a blessing. If your parents allowed you to make mistakes, and not just allowed you to make mistakes, but almost like created a safe space for you to understand that making a mistake was actually a good thing on the way to finding a healthy solution. It's not uncommon for us to learn other messaging about making mistakes, either in our homes or in the schooling system. The schooling system is reckless for giving us negative messaging about mistakes. However, on the creative process, we are not God, okay? God is the divine creator and he don't make no mistakes, but we are humans, okay? We be making mistakes. We got to try until we figure it out. Besides, if you don't try and you're not comfortable being seen trying, as Evelyn from the internet says, then you never get the gift and opportunity to tweak and improve as you go. So if you grew up with a mom who allowed you to be seen trying, and she gave you the scaffolding, the support around you to not control it, but to guide you as you tried again to create whatever it was you were trying to create. And you stumbled and you fall and you tweaked and you talked and you whatever. That is such a blessing. If you have a mom that taught you skills, okay? Did your mom teach you how to cook? Did your mom teach you how to sew? Did your mom teach you how to do hair? Did your mom teach you how to do makeup? Did your mom teach you how to do taxes? Okay. Did your mom teach you how to build a deck? Yeah. Did your mom, I don't know, fire a kiln? All right. I don't know, tend a garden, clean the bathroom, cover a book, sew a bag, repair your socks? Anything. Did she teach you how to invest in the stock market? Proper hygiene, how to exfoliate, okay? Did she give you information about your mental health? Did she teach you the skills of your, sexual health? Did she teach you the skills of emotional health, self-care beyond bubble baths? Okay. Did she teach you how to be mindful? Did she teach you how to set boundaries? If your mother taught you any skills, okay, that is such a blessing. My mother taught me how to be poised. Yeah. Anything you guys see on any of these videos that have the glam in glamazini, it is my mom. Yeah. All you see all of this hand movements that people are always making comments about, and I don't even think I'm doing anything. It is my mom. My ability to pose in a photograph and be fabulous, my mother. Every cute outfit you guys have ever seen me in, my mother. I know how to abase and abound. I am actually a very goofy and silly person. Goofy and silly, okay, on the inside, which is not my mom, that's my dad. However, the person who taught me how to present myself in a very poised fashion, and that turned into me winning pageants, traveling the world, building an entire platform that was beauty based, and just showing up as a graceful, tall, really nice looking lady. That's what I think. I mean, if you don't think it, don't matter. My mother taught me that. Okay. There was an elegance, the woman is still down there being elegant. I don't know why I said was. She's still down there being fly as ever. Okay. There is an elegance, there's a presence, there is a vibe, an energy when she shows up in the room. And I modeled that. And so my mother taught me how to Be how to be. That's what I'm gonna say. How to show up and have my presence fill up a space without saying much. Although I do talk a lot, but that part is not her. That's my dad. You okay. All right. If your mom taught you anything, if your mom was affectionate and gave you hugs, freely gave you hugs, affectionate touch, if that was your thing, or freely said, I love you, what a gift. The human spirit is so delicate. We toughen up as the years go on, but when we first come into this thing, we are just like raw eggs, okay? And there's so much possibility for us to be spoken positively into and negatively into. If you heard I love you all the time. What a gift. And the reason I say that is because you can live an entire life and never have a parent say, I love you, not say the word. Some people don't even know to say the words. Maybe the words weren't said to them, or maybe they have some attachment trauma to the word. I don't know. Okay. But they can take care of you like your food and your shelter and everything, and you never hear the words, I love you. So if you have a mom who freely, not begrudgingly, shared with you that she loves you, and then added on that affection, and that's part of that feminine showing up and nurturing you, that is a true blessing. Okay. Did your mother model perseverance and taking care of business? Let me tell y'all a story. Yesterday, when I was in therapy, the therapist was asking me words to describe myself, and I gave her a whole slew of words, okay, because I'm ready to go when it comes to words to describe myself. Okay, part of my coaching is identity work, and so because I've done identity work so much, I got all kind of words to describe myself that are not roles I play in other people's lives. Okay, I'm clear on that. And then she gonna throw in, and you're perseverant, and I was like, what? Now, here's the thing. I have an aversion to the word resilience because to me, resilience is a little too much liqueur of strength, like strength, and I got to be strong, strong, strong. And I'm trying to like shed that strong. So even though resilient is also a positive word, for me, it's a little too, I got a little, right? For some reason, and I didn't even realize this, perseverance had the same to me. Because when she said it, I was like, what are you talking about? I was offended. Okay. Who you calling perseverant? And she was like, "You are absolutely perseverant." This woman has been my therapist for like, listen, a month. Okay. We're probably like on our, this was yesterday was our fourth appointment. This woman told me flat out when I was leaving the appointment, she was like, Rashni, you are the definition of perseverant. Your life, a lesser person would have, and she said, would, that's what she said. And I was just like, dying. Now, here's the thing. She is not, this four appointments, this woman said this to me. She is not the first person that has said that to me, the first therapist. I have had previous therapists tell me that the things happening in my world that you guys know and that you guys don't know. How am I still showing up the way I am? It is miraculous. Okay. So if you had a mom that modeled when it was appropriate to put down the softness, okay, and pick up the strength, and to stand on business, to take care of business, to get her done, that is also a gift. You know why? Because it is possible for a woman to just like lay out in life and just be at the whims of other people. And that is also not a healthy way to show up. Yeah. I am learning the balance of showing up in the rest and the recuperation state and the experience and the atmosphere and the flow and the feminine state. And then flip into the activity, the more masculine, the more go getter, the more productivity based state. And this state is beautiful, but doesn't always lend itself to perseverance. And I realize now that what that therapist was seeing in me is my ability to flow between the states and to choose to continually keep showing up to create the life that I want. If your mom modeled for you healthy perseverance and she got it done and she took care of business, and when she got to doing a thing, she did the thing, and if it didn't let her go left, she went right, and if it didn't let her go right, she went down. If she figured it out, that is a gift because it allows you to understand that, like H and D abroad set up here, where there's a will, there is a way. Okay. You are not a train barreling through life with no stopping points. However, you are also not laid down a victim of life and have no creative power to act differently and use those actions to compile and create a different life. So if you have a mom that showed you that, good for you. Your mom instilled a love of hobbies. If your mom showed you that life was not just about producing things in a capitalist society, working, 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 and letting people build things on your back. If your mom read, if your mom traveled, if your mom rested, if your mom sewed, if your mom made cookies, if your mom did macrame, if your mom did crochet, if your mom did braids out the back, okay, she was laying people's weave for free or for paid. All right. If your mom fixed cars, all right. If your mom showed you that play existed and that you got to live a life that also included hobbies and things that were playful, that had no intended outcome except the creative experience and entertainment in the doing, wow. Okay. Especially if she was a Black woman, because the messaging that she had to process and reject, like Uno reverse, was consistent for her to do something different, to never rest, to never play, to never have a hobby, to never choose something just because she enjoyed it, right? And that means you got to see a person choose things not just because they made a bunch of money, which is also important, but because it brought them joy and it helped them express their actual self out into the world. If your mother was your biggest supporter, is your biggest supporter, was and is your biggest supporter. Okay. If you brought your mom, your your what you call it, science project of all the planets, or you made a little volcano, you know what I mean, with your baking soda or whatever, and your mom was like, "Oh my God, like it's the best thing she's ever seen." Okay. If every single thing you did, your mother showed up at the event with t-shirts that went with it. Okay. If whatever you was doing, it was the best. Now here's the thing, that could go really bad because you could end up on American Idol thinking you could sing and your mom gassed you up. So if you have a very big supporter mom, I do advise you to ask some other people if she just gassing you up or if you actually are good at the thing. Okay. And if she just gassing you up, let her. Okay. Because I'm gonna tell y'all one thing about me is I'm gonna gas my son up. Y'all ain't gonna tell me that he ain't the best thing that's ever coming. Okay. Because that's my job. Okay. So if somebody, if the world's gonna tell him he's bad at something, they're gonna have to tell him, not me. So if your mom is if your I got offended again. If your mom is your biggest supporter, that is a blessing because the world is going to thrash you to and fro. Especially Black women, man, the world is going to have you by your hair, dragging and thrashing you back and forth like Hulk was thrashing Loki in Avengers. Okay. It's not a say, this thing is out here is rigged against us. But there are some relationships where it is wonderful to know that no matter what, when you come back into the space, you have a cheerleader. And those relationships are typically your partner and your mother, okay? Your parent, your caregivers. Like the world is rough. So if you have a mom that's a supporter, let her, but also check with other people because she might be delusional. Um, E.B. Scott said, my mama and my aunt taught us how to sew, also crochet. Exactly. Which is something that you could monetize, but you don't have to. It just increases the life that you get to live, whether it is for expression, you just make stuff because you want to make stuff, whether you turn it into a money making situation and income, whether you just need to fix a sock to put a button back on your dress. You know what I mean? That's really it. Chanel, I'm helping the people. You know those people on American Idol who just go up there and they singing their little heart out, sound like 17 cats dying. And they just know. You could see that nobody has ever told them the truth. Okay. And their mama is always on the side. "Ah," and you just be like, "Ooh, girl, you did such an amazing job." But you also lied to your child. So that's why I'm like, proceed with this one with caution because it could really have you out here looking crazy out here on the internet. Because the internet will tell you that food that you put out on Thanksgiving that your mama said was beautiful, mm-mm, take that back. Anyway, if you have a mom, this was somebody else's who remained faithful to her husband, her children, and God despite adversity. This was somebody else. But listen, let me say this. Let's talk about faithfulness. Faithfulness is underrated. Okay. We be dragging moms all up and down the streets, dragging them for filth. Okay. And we don't know what it took to model faithfulness, stick to itiveness. That can also go poorly if it's done to an extreme, right? But just because too much stick to itiveness can be a negative doesn't mean that faithfulness is a negative. The opposite is a negative because having a person show you consistency, faithfulness to a relationship, to a purpose, to a cause, to a calling like motherhood is a blessing. You know why? I'm going to say this. There are mothers who did not model that. And those mothers who didn't model that, there is fruit in their children's lives right now for choosing not to model faithfulness. So if you are taking for granted that your mom modeled faithfulness to you, reconsider. Reconsider. If your mother forged friendships, did you see your mom create community? Now, yes, some mothers uh, choose to get their relational needs met only in their romantic relationship. Some mothers may choose to get it only in their with their children, and some choose to not get it at all, or they only do it with their siblings. Nothing is wrong with that. However, I have this personal belief that there are two types of relationships. There are relationships that are given to you by default, and there are relationships that you choose. And both of them teach you something very important when you are creating the community that you are going to do life with. The ones that you're given by default are exactly that. You don't get to choose them. So even though we have people out here going no contact and all of that, and that kind of is a very abrupt choice, that person is still the person's mother. Like nobody else is ever going to be my son's mother. It's impossible. You know what I mean? If something happens in my world and he has another person that becomes role in his the mother role in his life, no, he came out of my womb. This is my crotch fruit. Okay? So nobody's going to be his mother besides me. So that's not a role he gets to choose. But friendships are roles that you get to choose. And for the relationships that you don't get to choose, like children and siblings and all of that, um, there are important lessons that can be learned in those, okay? About not always getting to discard and having to have the difficult conversations and having to have the relationship grow into that. Okay. But on the relationships that you get to choose, community building is huge. Okay. And we, especially Black women, we come from a history of community being an integral source of how we experience a healthy life. Western individualism is a thing, but and it comes with some good things, but some of the things that we give up are the benefits of creating a communal space for our expression, our life, and our healing. If you saw a mother have, foster, and maintain friendships across the years, it is the most beautiful thing. I have a friend who has been my friend for 20 something years. Okay. Her daughter is now in her 20s. Her daughter, if you're watching this, hello. Her daughter, okay? Every time I'm hanging out with my friend, here come her daughter on FaceTime. If we're in the living room, her daughter's creeping. She in the conversation. She giggling. She asking us questions about our friendship. I think that her daughter finds so much joy in the fact that me and her mom have been rocking with each other for 20 something years. And I've practically been there her entire life. What a gift. What a gift. Tyrell, is that you? What name is this? Nicole, LaShawn. Listen, I don't know. My mother put us first. She showed me how to prioritize bills and food and home. I've never struggled with finances in the ways that some of my friends have, and I believe that it's because of my mother. That's because, like, what was the one I said? Your mother, where was it? Took care of business. That was one of the things I said. If your mother took care of business, Okay. Then she showed you how to show up that way in a way that you are noticing now in your adulthood that your other friends didn't have. Okay. My mother personally instilled in me the importance of education. Yeah. Um, I have, I did well in school. It was something that was actually honestly came easy to me. I have since figured out why it came easy to me. And I learned from my mom that education can open doors in this society. Yeah. And so that was a blessing and a gift that was given to me from my mother. I could have, and I see other people in my family where that was not necessarily the gift and the blessing given to them. And therefore, they are living with the results of not having that. Hopefully, I said that well. Like they're living with some negative results in their adulthood from not having the blessing of a mom that early on instilled in them that education does unlock some doors. Okay. And I don't know if you guys have heard me say, I have some academia trauma. Okay. So it's not like education has been like this rosy, wonderful thing for me. However, I am grown enough to see the light and the shadow of everything. And the blessing is it did unlock some stuff for me. Okay. It, that would not have been unlocked if the woman hadn't put it in me. All right. My entire page, the fact that you guys even have a glamazini, because my page, although I'm talking to y'all right now about mental health and like personal development topics and healing journey topics, I started out talking about hair and beauty, okay? And the hair and beauty flow was my mom, okay? Because the girls stay fly. The girls stay fly, and the girls showed me, okay, how to present myself with intention to the world. And that was not just like how I dress and look, but like my physical movement, my body movement. She put me in dance classes and stuff. And so I feel a great debt to her. That's the word I'm going to use for that because it shows in how I experience the world. I am a very graceful mover. I mean, if you guys see me goofing off, it's because I can goof off and I can dance, but I'm like a very graceful person and I have control over my body in a way that many tall people don't, right? Tall people can be kind of like gangly. I've literally had people tell me that they're shocked about how like I move and I dance because I'm tall and I'm not like my limbs aren't like taking control of me. Anyway, if you want to, let me know. I'm about to wrap it up. What your mom did well. And hopefully, this list was helpful to you because, like I said, we have a tendency to hyper focus on the negative. Okay. We have a tendency to hyper focus on the negative, which is why I wanted to do this, right? I don't want anybody to come and tell me, I'm talking about healing the mother wound and I'm saying things about the mother wound. And people are like, yeah, but what about when your mother did? Listen, I'm going to probably just direct them to this video. Okay because black and white thinking is not a healthy way to show up in the world. Speaking about healing the mother wound, the Pineapple Crowns coaching membership, which is my coaching membership for Black and West Indian women, is open for enrollment right now. The next course that is dropping tomorrow is called Heal the Mother Wound. Okay. I wanted to throw out the positives. If you heard these, let me say this. I wasn't going to go here, but we're going to go here. If you heard this list and you was like, girl, whose mother was that? Sorry. If you heard this list and you was like, "Whose mother did that?" I had the opposite experience of half to all those things. I got you, boo boo. Okay? Because having that experience, having the opposite experience can have lots of ongoing effects into your adulthood, whether you are conscious or unconscious of how a mother wound might have affected you. ThePineappleCrowns.com, become a member. It is open for enrollment. It will close for enrollment tomorrow, Saturday, May 18th at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you are watching this after that, you can join the wait list to find out when it will open again, which will be July, okay, at a higher rate. So if you want to get the rate now, go on ahead and go over there, ThePineappleCrowns.com. The mother wound course will be added to the existing courses tomorrow. There are existing courses. We also have a monthly group call, which is this Sunday, by the way. We have a private community and we have a growing library of courses and downloads and discounts on upcoming courses like the virtual planning retreat, uh, thepineapplecrowns.com. Check it out. Also, I'm not sure if this is still open for enrollment, but the Job Liberation Summit starts tomorrow. If you are a Black woman in a toxic job or healing from the after effects of leaving a toxic job, Dr. Kamani Norrington Sands and Marissa Price, who is a social worker, are job liberators who are toxic job survivors and work to help Black women leave and heal from toxic jobs. The Job Liberation Summit is happening tomorrow, May 18th and 19th, digitally out here on the interwebs. Okay. The link on how you can register, if registration is still open, I'm not sure, is in the information box of this video. Just wanted to make sure that you guys knew that before I wrapped it up. I'm coming to you, Evie. I saw your thing. My mom modeled and continues to the importance of faith and work. Both. Most people in my world model heavy or even exclusive reliance on one or the other. Well, it's good. Because works without faith, that's not it. Okay. But faith without works. Listen, you are what you continually do. You are what you repeatedly do. Flap your lips all day and tell me what you think you believe. But what you believe is in your works. The Bible says you will know a tree by the what? By the fruit. What do y'all think this is about? Okay. I don't see no fruit. So are you sure you believe that? Sorry. I think you want to believe it. But faith without works is dead, Evie. That's what it is. Okay. So if you have a mom that showed you that you need to not just talk it, but you need to walk it, what a gift. What a blessing. What a freaking head start. Okay, all of these things. What a head start. Chanel said, thanks for this today. Hearing you speak today gave me a deeper understanding of why I love my friend group, my chosen family, and why so many of my friends are older women. You listen, you out here getting nurtured. You out here getting mommy by older women. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Um, yeah. We overlook the good and will drag mothers for filth about what they didn't do. But every person who is a mom, this thing ain't easy. This thing is hard. And listen, I don't even have a typically developing kid. I have a kid with special needs that has developmental delays and orthopedic things and is a wheelchair user. There's so much going on in the physical realm with my son. I don't listen. This thing is not easy. Even if I had a typically developing child, showing up as a whole healed you to parent a brand new spanking human being, we got to give these people grace. We got to give them their flowers. We got to say, listen, you started at the floor. You did the best you could. You created a ceiling for me. Your ceiling becomes my floor. And now I will go up. You didn't do everything right, but you did some things right. Okay. I'm here moderately in my right mind talking to y'all. Okay. My mother did okay. All right. Could she have done some things better? Absolutely. But did she fail entirely? Absolutely not. Do y'all see me? Okay. I have more thank yous and hugs to give out. Absolutely. You are blessed. If you watch this video and you take anything from it, okay? If you experience any of these things, it doesn't mean the negative things that she may have done in your life didn't happen, but it means that you are blessed. You are blessed. The Bible says that if you think on certain things that are lovely and good and of good report, then the peace of God that passes all understanding, okay? If you want the peace, if you want to rest in your mind, if you want to experience a peaceful mental and spiritual state, focus on some of these blessings and not just the negative things. Okay? A lot of people ask me how I be thinking the way I be thinking and how I be showing up the way I be showing up when all hell is breaking loose in my life because I think on these things. And I invite you guys to think on these things too. Okay, I'm done. I'm super over today. But your girl is out. Be well, you guys. Be encouraged. And here is a pineapple that was given to me by my favorite human being on the planet, Zion Cope, my son, for my birthday. Okay, because my son knows me. Did y'all see that? Mama baby. I love him. Bye, you guys. Be well. Be encouraged. Here's a pineapple. Bye.